Assalamu alaikum everyone, and welcome to another lecture of service marketing. Today we are going to talk about one of the most important topics of service marketing, and that is the pricing. Well, one thing you must need to understand here is that pricing is the only element in the marketing mix. It is said that pricing is the only element in the marketing mix which represent profits, and all the other elements, they only represent cost. So once you calculate the price of the product and you sell that product on that price, you actually earn money after the sales have occurred. So basically, pricing actually represents the revenue for any organization. It represents the cost of your product. It represents the cost of everything that you have done in order to promote and market that product. And obviously, once you are getting paid, it represents your overall bottom line. It represents overall profit. But when it comes to services, the price is much more than that. Price is not just the amount that a customer is paying you. The pricing is not just an amount you charge to your customer. It's much more than that. In services, pricing is the entire business model. Everything that we do, everything that we provide to the customer revolves around pricing. And we have several examples in order to defend this argument that will help you out in the understanding of what I'm trying to communicate here, that how is pricing is the entire business model when it comes to services. So you have an open Viginati here, and if you look at this case study, if you look at this example, it is telling you about a new kind of business model that is a kind of a cafe, or you can call it a restaurant, where people come and they get feed, and regardless their ability to pay, they are allowed to eat whatever they want. And what happens is that there are no set prices on the menu, and these restaurants bring people together from all walks of life. What happens is that customers can pay for their meals with cash or labor or nothing at all, and you can feed all the customer regardless of their ability to pay, and ask those who can afford it to contribute a little bit more to help others. So basically, this kind of model, it is being applied all over the world, and this is exactly what I'm trying to communicate here, that this is not just the amount that you are charging to the customer, it's your entire business model. And apart from this different and innovative example, we have certain established cases, we have certain established businesses whose entire business philosophy, whose entire business model, it evolves around pricing. For example, if you take an example of Careem or Uber, you talk about your GSM service providers, you talk about different hotels, or even you talk about your university, airlines, or hospitals. The entire business models, they run around the pricing calculations, the price mechanisms, the price models. For example, if you talk about Careem, what Careem actually offers you is a mode of transportation, but they hardly invest in any car. The cars are basically owned by the drivers or the investors, or what you call them, the captains. And what Careem does is they only have this software which actually calculates the price per kilometer, and you actually pay them per kilometer prices. So they have actually to calculate the price. Similarly, if you talk about the GSM service providers, you talk about your easy card that you purchase on a monthly basis. That monthly card actually enables you to use SMS or mobile data, or you can call off-net on on-net network minutes. So basically what they have done is they have calculated the entire pricing that will equate to 550 rupees or 650 rupees. Even so, if you talk about the airline sector, you will see that the ticket that is actually the amount of the ticket that is charged you, it has all the basic calculations of all the services that are inherited within that service that is being provided. So basically, whichever service sector you choose, you will see that the pricing is basic dominating factor there, because they have to calculate a lot of variable. They have to make sure that all the physical evidence that is being used during the provision of those services, their amount is also being added to, because the assets or the physical evidence that you people use during the consumption of that service, they are also being depreciated, and they have to purchase those equipments or those facilities once again, and they have to purchase them based on the price that they have charged you, because the money that you are giving to those companies, this money is also being used used to purchase the new assets for the company, because physical evidence, it has to be used. For example, ComStats University, they may have to purchase new buses, or they may have to create new buildings or new infrastructure, or they may have to launch new programs. So they are actually using all those fees or all those revenues that they have accumulated over the years from student fees or the government funding or everything. So basically the pricing is a very lethargic, it's a very descriptive kind of activity that every service provider has to perform in order to provide that service. So there's not just price of goods sold that you can create and you can actually charge the amount to the customer. Even though the manufacturing sector, they also have to go through a rigorous pricing strategy, but service sector is entirely dominated by the pricing factors, because they do not actually sell you physical tangible goods. Their work is actually burdened up because of the fact that they actually have to charge you a price for renting out those services or renting out those physical goods that you are being using. So this is an entirely different philosophy from rest of the manufacturing sector. For example, if another example that came to my mind just yet, that if you purchase a Airtel connection, or if you purchase a PTCL connection, you will realize that they are only charging you a monthly fee, but all the equipment that they have installed in order to provide you that service, this amount is also being utilized in the purchase or the depreciation of those equipment that have been installed in order to provide that service. So pricing, just keep that in mind, be very comprehensive, and be very realistic about the fact that pricing is an entire business model. It's not just the amount of product that we are charging to the customers. So here I have for you people is to go through these. I want you to go through these two cases that I have for you, and the links are being provided in the slides. I'll be sharing these slides with you. What you have to do is you have to go through these two video cases, and you have to understand the basic philosophy of the price calculations. Now these two videos, they are different in a way that the first video, it actually explains why flying is so expensive. So this is actually a very amazing video case in which you will be able to appreciate the fact that how the airlines, they actually calculate the prices. Well, I'm not saying that this may be the exact way, but this is an actually estimated kind of a, because the airlines, they're not going to share this kind of data with you, but we have certain researchers over the year which actually enable the people to post these kind of videos. So it makes a complete sense on how an organization, an airline, actually calculates the prices. And now we have another excellent example, another excellent video case regarding the pricing as an entire business model. So we have a budget airline model in which how the economic airlines, how the no-frill airlines, how the budget airlines works, so how they are different from the rest of the world, and why these tickets are so expensive and why these tickets are so cheap. So basically both of these videos will help you in a better understanding of how airline actually calculate the prices. So they actually try to accumulate all and each and every possible element that can actually add up to the calculation of the amount that is being charged to you for utilization of these services. So I would really appreciate if you go through these videos and you try to understand each and every factor that is actually contributing towards the price that is being charged to you. And later on we will discuss these videos in our classes, and then we will think that what you have to think about that. For now, let's move ahead, and I'll leave these videos to you for you to watch. Now what we have here is the buyer perception of value model. I would like to start this model with the help of an example. Let's take an example and recall any experience that you had with the service. For example, you talk about a university. You have spent a lot of money coming here, and you are spending a lot of resources while studying here. You have invested a lot of cost, you have invested a lot of time, you have invested a lot of psychic cost as well, because coming to the university is not only about spending time and money, it's also about your entire psychic experience. You actually go through a lot of pressures, you will actually go through a lot of study pressures, and you go through a lot of communication pressures, and there are a lot of things that you actually go through while you are studying at a university. So basically, once you try to understand that either ComStats is a good place or not, what you do is you try to divide your total customer value from the total customer cost. How much value you are receiving from ComStats and how much cost that you have spent while being here in ComStat. So basically, once you talk about the total customer cost, you need to understand it's not only about the money, it's about the time that you have spent, it's about the energy you are spending, and also about the psychological, pressures and all the psychological being that you are giving or receiving from the university as well. And once you talk about the value that you are receiving from the ComStat, it's not only about the education itself, it's also about the various kind of services that you are receiving. For example, you talk about entertainment, you talk about sports, you talk about cafeteria, you talk about medical facilities, you talk about counseling facilities, you talk about career development, and then you talk about the people who are communicating with you in terms of your coordinators, your head of departments, or your faculty. So basically, and then yes, it's also about the image value as well, because once you have started education in ComStat, you were actually expecting that ComStat may be a good place to start your educational career with, and you were also expecting that once you are graduated from this university, it may end up in a desirable career success. So basically, it was not only about the money that you were spending, it's also about so many benefits that you are receiving as a whole. So it's basically a package deal. So in the end, how are you going to explain ComStat experience? How are you going to explain that either ComStat is a good place to study? It's all about once you subtract your total customer value that you are receiving from the total customer cost. So one thing here you need to understand here is that every service provider, they must need to understand that what they are providing is not just a service, it's a combination of so many other factors. And also what customer is providing you, it's not just the money, it's not just the cost, it's so many other things, the opportunity cost, the time, it's the energy. They could have spent that amount of money somewhere else, they could have spent that time somewhere else, they could have spent that energy somewhere else. So when a buyer is frustrated from your service, this frustration, you need to understand this frustration is not only about the money, it's all about everything that they have spent. It's about the time, the energy. And for example, you talk about ComStats and you spend 4 years in here, and after that, once you realize that it may not be worth spending or having that experience in ComStat, that it will create a lot of frustration for you, because you actually spent 4 years. So it was not only about the money, it was also about the time, it was all about the psychic cost that you spent, also about the energy, all the frustration, all the pressures, all the ifs and buts that happened to you while being in the university. So yes, this is a very important model for every service marketer to understand, that you need to apply these values and these cost factors once you develop your marketing plans, once you start developing service, once you start providing service to the customer, that the customer is not only sacrificing cost and you are not just providing a service, the combination of so many things that actually have to be differentiated in the mind of the customer. Once this differentiation, it is in a positive manner, you may create a positive perceptions in the mind of the customer. So here we have a little bit explanation about all these customer costs and customer value. For example, we have a monetary cost, the actual dollar price, you have a time cost, the time customer has to spend, the energy cost, the physical energy spent by the customer, or the psychic cost, the mental energy spent by the customer to acquire a service. So all of these things are very much in play whenever you start using a service, and these things collectively create a lot of frustration, because once you actually see a service failure, it's not only about the money. And once what you are receiving from the company is not just the product value, the worth assigned to the product by the consumer, it's also about the worth assigned to the service, also about the worth assigned to the service provider, the personnel, the faculty, the teacher, the doctor, the nurses, everybody, and then the worth assigned to the image of the service provider by the customer. So I hope you have understood the aspect of this model is very much important. And now what we are going to do is we are going to discuss various cost, demand, customer, competitive, profit, and product and legal consideration that we may take into account once we start developing the pricing strategies. So I'm going to tell you one thing, that we are not here to study how to calculate a service price. We are going to discuss several factors that actually contribute while you are designing a service pricing strategy, right? So when you talk about calculating the pricing of the service, it's pretty much simple. You take into consideration various factors that are actually contributing toward a service. You may have to subtract, you may have to add, you may have to divide, and there are a lot of different accounting methods, different principles and practices involved, but this is not our course. You may leave these things to accounting and finances, but we are going to discuss these pricing considerations from a marketing perspective. So what are the cost considerations from the marketing perspective, what demand considerations considerations are from the marketing perspective, and then we have several other considerations. So what we are going to do is we are going to go through these considerations one by one, and we will understand that how these various considerations they actually impact on service pricing strategies. So one thing you need to understand here is that while developing service pricing strategies, you need to take all these considerations into consideration, because they may be contributing a lot towards the overall service performance, they may be contributing a lot towards the overall service delivery, they may be contributing a lot towards the overall perception factors that we have just discussed. So let's talk about the first consideration, that is the cost consideration. I'm expecting you guys to be very much meticulous here. I'm expecting you to pay attention. I'm expecting you to understand the underlying philosophy. I'm expecting you to understand the underlying strategic implications that are associated with service pricing strategies. So for example, the first most important point here is to discuss that service pricing is not finalized until after provision. So the consumer may know the exact amount they will be charged until after the service is performed. For example, if you talk about CompSearch University, you know how much you would be charged from the start of the semester, because you actually pay the amount, the charge, the cost of the service before the semester actually starts. But that is not actually true for the entire service sector. For example, God forbid, if you are ever admitted in a hospital, you have a basic idea how much you would be charged, but you are not actually sure how much would be charged by the end of your discharge from the hospital, because the doctors may be coming, you may be using different kind of medicines, you may be going through various kind of tests, and you may be going through various kind of nursing facilities, so you may not be actually sure how much you would be paid. So sometimes it happens, yes, that service pricing is not often finalized until after provision. Then the cost oriented pricing is more difficult in services, because the cost of goods sold is either a very small or non-existent, or labor needs are changing to forecast accurately in many service sectors. So there are so many other things to discuss. I'm not going to discuss them here because it may increase the length of the presentation to a very large amount, but we are going to discuss these points when we will meet in the class. But I'm expecting you to go through the book, and I'm expecting you guys to kindly try to understand what he's trying to say here, because this is your task for the next class. All of these points, all of these strategies, all of this discussion is for you to understand. I'm going to ask you this question in your class, and you will be needing to answer me that. For example, if I ask you why the cost of goods sold is either a small or non-existent amount, you should be able to answer me this, and not only from the class perspective but also from the examination perspective. I may be asking you a question like service pricing is not often finalized until after provision. What does it mean? So you may be able to you should be able to explain this phenomena while you were sitting in your examination. Now there may be a few businesses who have a very low fixed to variable cost ratio, but we have certainly many businesses around us who have a very high fixed to cost ratio. And for example, if you talk about CompSearch University, you talk about an airline, they have a very high fixed cost and they have a very high variable cost. Because let's talk about CompSearch, you see this huge infrastructure in front of you, you see a lot of buildings, you see a lot of buses, and we see a lot of faculty members. There are hundreds and thousands of faculty members across all the 7 campuses, and we have a lot of labor here in terms of gatekeepers or security staff or cleaning staff or the horticulture staff. So there is a very high to fixed cost ratio. Not every service sector has a low fixed to variable cost ratio. Another important thing here to understand is the service economies of scale tend to be very much limited. Now this question I leave it to you. You need to explain me next time we will meet that why the service economies of scale tend to be limited. One idea that I'm going to give you, that there is no production. So if you hear there is no production, there may be no economies of scale, but there can be certain ways in which you can actually increase the service economies of scale. I will be asking you guys, and I would like you to think about this typical point, in which way you can make sure that there may be more service economies of scale in services. They may be related to certain industry, not all of them, but there certainly can be certain situations in which you can tend to increase the service economies of scale.